Hi, my name's Mandy. Welcome to our stretching video from the YMCA. I teach bar and Pilates classes, and I am going to go through a short stretching routine, about 10 or 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so you don't really need any equipment at home. You can of course do this barefoot or with shoes if you'd like. I did grab a chair, so when we get into some of our standing stretches, at home, if you have a chair or a countertop that you can hold on to for a little balance and support, feel free to grab that. I'm just gonna have you come to that standing position, nice and tall, feet about hip distance apart, and stay nice and soft here through the knees, finding that reach through the crown of the head. And let's go ahead and just start with a few shoulder rolls, up, back, and down, opening through the chest. Start to draw the navel in toward the spine, so you find a little support there through the core. And then let's go ahead and draw those shoulders down and away from the ears. We're just going to start to take the head side to side a few times, finding some nice rotation here through the neck. And of course, taking our time, keeping those shoulders nice and square. And then this time, as we take the chin over toward the right, let's go ahead and drop the chin down toward the shoulder. And really feel that stretch through the side and the back of the neck. Staying open through the chest. And then we'll lift that up. Let's go ahead and rotate it through center. We'll take the chin over toward that left shoulder. And then with an exhale, let's go ahead and draw chin toward that shoulder. Feeling a little different stretch there through the back of the neck. And then just bringing that back to center. From here, we're going to drop chin toward the chest. So start to feel that nice length through the back of the neck here, allowing the head to be heavy, but staying nice and open there through the chest and the shoulders. And then while we're here, we're just going to start to take the chin side to side into a few neck rolls. So of course, as you start to get a little more comfortable here in this movement and this stretch, you're welcome to start to drop the head slightly into the back space. Just being really mindful there of compression through the back of the neck. And you can always hang out here, maybe on one side if you're feeling a little tension or tightness. And then once we even that up, let's go ahead and drop the chin back toward the chest, just lifting that up nice and tall. All right, so from here, what we're gonna do is take the right arm, cross it over the chest, and really drop that right shoulder down and away from the ear. And then as you hold here, you just want to make sure that you're not on the joint, but you're either below or a little above, whatever's comfortable there. Try to keep that chest nice and square here. And then option, of course, let's go ahead and take the chin toward that right shoulder. And once again, just dropping that down, finding a little different stretch through the upper back and of course through the neck. And then let's go ahead and lift that up, come back to center. We're just going to drop it down, maybe shake it out a little here. And then taking left arm, cross it over the chest. So same thing, other side. Start by really drawing that shoulder down and away from the ear. And then if you'd like to add that rotation, we can rotate toward that shoulder and then start to drop the chin down. And then just lifting that back up, coming back to center. Let's go ahead and shake it out again. All right, we're gonna go into a nice little tricep stretch here. So start by taking the elbow forward. We're just gonna press that up. And then you're just gonna go to your own range of motion here. So if you're able to bring it all the way toward the ceiling, just wanna make sure of a couple things here. We're keeping those shoulders down and away from the ears, but also keeping the head in line with the spine. Just some nice deep belly breaths. And then on an exhale, let's go ahead and lift up and out of that right hip as we find our nice lat stretch. So just holding here, a couple of breaths. And then we'll release. Go ahead and shake it out a little before we take it to the other side this time. Just taking that left elbow, pressing forward and up. Of course, if you'd like, again, you can always take this toward the ceiling, just making sure to keep the head in line with the spine. Feeling that stretch through the triceps. And then once again, with an exhale, let's go ahead and lift up and out of that hip as you come into that lat stretch. So nice side body stretch here. All right, so this is where we start to get a little bit more into the body, the full body stretch, into the quads and down into the legs. So first I'm gonna have you grab a chair, or again, you can always use a countertop for this one. I always like to use this one in my classes as a nice decompression for the low back. So what you're gonna do is take the hands wide, about as wide as the shoulders on this. And then we're gonna take this into a modified down dog. So just start to step the feet back. Keep them about hip distance apart, maybe a little further. And then as we lengthen here through the arms, start to draw those shoulder blades down the back. And then you can always bend and extend one knee at a time, maybe both. Maybe even find a little rounding there through the low back if that feels good. All right, and then as we release this, we're just gonna walk it in. And I'm gonna keep using the chair here for some nice hip stretches. So for this, you can always face toward your counter, or you can face at an angle here. And I'm just gonna take the outside leg, taking left hand to the counter of the chair, taking that right leg, and we're just gonna start to step it back into a lunge. So you can take your lunge as wide as you'd like on this, just making sure that that front knee stays over the front ankle. And we're gonna actually start by just pressing the heel toward the floor. Find that nice calf stretch while we're here. And just staying tall. So while we're in this position, I want you to think ears over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. All right, and then we're gonna start to take this into a little bit of a side stretch. So let's go ahead and reach that right arm up and overhead. And then we're just gonna find this lateral stretch. So as you lift up and out of that hip, I want you to really think about reaching through those fingertips, but still keeping those shoulders down and away from the ears. All right, and then as we release this, a couple options here on a quad stretch. So this is gonna be your option one, dropping that back knee toward the floor and still keeping that nice alignment here through the spine. So this is your option one, dropping that back knee. Find a little shift there through that outside hip. So kind of shift the pelvis forward. Probably feel that stretch into the hip flexors, down into the quads. And then here's gonna be your option two. Option two, if you can reach the foot, just drawing that in. We're gonna start with the knees together on this one. So this is also a nice opening through the chest and that shoulder. And then if you'd like to add on to this one, maybe a little more of a challenge, start to hinge forward here. And you're finding this hinge through that inside hip. Also want to keep a nice soft bend through that knee, so we're not locking through the joints. And again, just breathing. And then as we release this, just lifting back up, shake it out a little. We're going to take that to the other side. So I'm actually going to move the chair around here. And then as we get set up once again, take that outside leg, step it back. So first you're going to find your lunge, just drawing that heel toward the floor, staying tall. And then while we're here, if you'd like to add that big side stretch, we're gonna reach that outside arm toward the ceiling. Again, drop the shoulders, inhale, exhale, coming up and over into that nice lateral stretch. So of course, while we're here, feeling that big stretch, and like I mentioned before, you might notice that you feel a little different from one side to the other, just going to your own range of motion and breathing. All right, so as we release this side, let's go ahead and take it into that quad stretch once again. So start by dropping that back knee down, start to find a little shift forward through the hip, holding here, breathing. And then of course, if you'd like to add on Maybe a little more challenging, grabbing the foot. Start with the knees drawing in together. And then, of course, if you'd like, we'll start to find that hinge forward. So again, we're just hinging here through that inside hip. You have your chair, your counter for a little balance. Really reaching back through that lifted knee. And then let's go ahead and draw that back in. A little shake here. And then moving our chair out of the way. So into a big full body stretch. Let's go ahead and interlace the fingers, start to rotate the palms forward. So first we're going to focus on a little bit of rounding here through the upper back, maybe a little scoop through the belly. And then let's go ahead and inhale, find that lift up, maybe even follow with the eyes. And then just up and over into a big side stretch. So as we come into this stretch, just make sure that the weight stays even across the feet. And then as we inhale, lifting that through center, let's go ahead and take it up and over to the other side. Just holding and breathing. And then as we make our way back to center, just releasing that little shake here. All right, so a couple more things before we go. I'm gonna get a nice inner thigh stretch. So what I'm gonna have you do is step the feet out nice and wide here. And if you're using a yoga mat, you can even try to step it out as wide as possible there. Maybe find a little internal rotation so the toes are slightly in, heels are out. And we're just gonna take the hands to the hips, stay soft through the knees, big inhale. On your exhale, hinge it forward. So think about sending those hips into the back space. And you can always hold here. If you want, you can always grab your chair or maybe take it to the countertop, or if you have some yoga blocks at home, you can always grab those. And then of course, you always have the option to come all the way over into a forward fold. So while you're in your forward fold, just allowing the head and the arms to be heavy. Start to find a little bend and extend side to side. So just a slight lunge here. Feeling that stretch through the inner thighs. And then once we're even side to side, we're just going to come back to center. And let's go ahead and take the hands back to the hips. Big inhale, exhale, slowly start to make your way back up. And then walk it in, shake it out a little. All right, I always like to end my classes with a couple of deep belly breaths, so let's stand nice and tall here. Taking the arms, big inhale, lift it up. Maybe look toward the sky, exhale, release it down. And then just one more, nice deep belly breath, find that lift. And then exhale to release. Thank you so much.